So all of us were just woken up by an emergency alert that was sent to our phones. It was great for a fucking earthquake.
It wasn't great.
Each of our phones went off at the exact same time with the same ringtone, and we thought something really bad was going to happen. Turns out it's a training exercise.
Are you sure it's a training exercise?
It says training in brackets 3 times.
Oh man.
So we had about 2 hours sleep, up the mountain, Hotel Alfred. Wah, 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 wah. What the fuck is that noise? Neil and Flip were like, oh shit, panic, earthquake. I got out of the van, I was like, oh shit, we're surrounded by trees. Oh no, okay, move the van. Oh, the van's on a cliff edge. Okay, the van is, get under the van because the trees are gonna fall. No, the van is gonna fall off the cliff. Okay, everybody stand out in the middle of the road. Wah, wah, wah. We're all gonna die. Serious panic, landslide, death, everywhere. Again, why did we come to Japan? We're dead. But then it was just a drill.
Alexei was telling us about these tsunami and earthquake warning alarms, and he said that he basically has PTSD from hearing these alarms. He said they're the worst thing in the world and he never wanted to hear them again. And we were like, wow, that sounds crazy. I'd never want to hear that alarm. And what a coincidence. Our alarm that morning that woke us up on the side of the mountain was the emergency earthquake alarm. And we shit ourselves. All our phones made the same noise and we all got the same text. We all have different brand phones. I thought it was really bizarre. And we woke up in a panic and we knew straight away that was the exact alarm that Alexei had told us about. And we all kind of started freaking out. And we were like, oh shit. Ruben was like, we're on a mountain, like it could be landslides, what's going on and stuff. And we were all trying to think of different things to do. What do we do? And then I just tried to translate it then. So I translated it in the Google Translate app. And then it turned out then that it was just a warning. It was an earthquake drill. And then we were like, what a way to wake up. I mean, obviously Japan is a very hostile country and there's a lot of natural disasters, and the last place you probably want to be when there's an earthquake is up the mountains. Like, I mean, there's landslides and all sorts of stuff. So that was probably one of the worst experiences ever, just waking up and thinking we were going to die straight away. Like, we were next to a river. Like, where we were pulled in was on a slope with a river. Like, we were probably going to be washed away. Like, we worked our way down the mountain then, completely deflated because we just thought we were going to die. And there was all old people cruising around with like hard hats on and stuff because they were all obviously taking part in the emergency drill up the mountain. So that was a nice way to wake up.
Completely standard Navin S14 with an old man driving it. They do still exist. And we're up the mountains in the middle of nowhere and there's strawberry drink. Vending machines. Just stop the traffic and little DC2.
A lovely S14 just drove past with an old man driving it. There was DC2 parked up on the hill. A lot of cool random cars parked around. Like, there's still a lot of stuff out there, which blows my mind because we've taken so much stuff out of Japan for like 20 plus years. I still can't believe that there's still enough there for them to enjoy. Like, we pulled in again to get another drink because there's just vending machines everywhere. And then Ruben just spotted some stuff over in the distance and it was just a yard filled with minis.
I like the real gold, and I just get one.
Yeah, real gold is your fave. Well, I just assumed it is.
Power up!
And these vending machines are always in stock, always fresh, always cold.
Evan, we're in the middle of nowhere. Everywhere you go, there's cars. Everywhere. We're into cars. The Europeans are into cars. Americans are into cars. Everyone has this car culture. Japan have everything. They're into every weird and wonderful thing, things that we might not like, but in Japan, they're open-minded to every different type of car in the whole world. It's there, it's in Japan, not just the Japanese stuff that we're into.
Only before we pulled in for a drink, we would have never seen it. How many places is there like that, like, you know?
They all have their earthquake helmets on.
Safety helmet.
Fucking earthquakes.
We just drove along all the roads heading towards Fuji. It was supposed to be a touristy day. We were going to just hang out and probably avoid the cars, but we realized that we were actually like 20 minutes from Fuji Speedway, and obviously we were going to go to Fuji Speedway. Why would we not? We were here to enjoy cars. I don't know what it is about this holiday, but Japan provided once again. We drove into Fuji and there was loads of stuff happening.
So yeah, we randomly just decided to show up at Fuji Speedway this morning.
Hang on a second. We slept in the van last night after all that shit, and we said we were going to have a non-car related day.
Yeah. And we couldn't help ourselves.
Prototype race cars racing, and then there was open top race cars. Like, there's always something happening at these tracks, which I find fascinating. There's just either one race from a series going on, but we went in around, then there was 2000 GTs, there was a car show on for some reason, there was an IMSA 300 ZX there that we were allowed to have a look, and we were sitting in.
This is his just old school cruiser, and he also has an LFA. Wow. Oh! How is this? You real racing now, boy? Yeah. Man, what a raw car. This is crazy. Imagine racing with this, like. Yeah. And the mirror even where it is, like. This fucking balloon on a string, and I won another one for Ruben.
Not only was the stuff down in the paddocks interesting, but the car park had amazing stuff. Like, any of those cars would be world famous if they were anywhere else.
And we just keep stumbling upon the greatest cars we've ever seen. Just another S2000 in Japan, but if this car was anywhere else, it would be world famous. It's an amazing machine.
And then, just as we were kind of going to leave, then there was a Ferrari race on. We got a picture of the Alphard under the massive Potenza sign. because we just had to, like, I mean, it was just an iconic thing to do, and Fuji was so cool, and it was so nice to see all the older guys there, because the car scene in Ireland it's maturing now with a lot of our age, and I know there's older guys and stuff, but you don't really see a lot of older people in it anymore. It's like they kind of grow out of it, or they kind of move on and stuff. But what I see in Japan a lot is a lot of older people that are still into modifying cars, and like they have a lot of cool stuff. We followed a few old Toyota coupes like out of Fuji. It's just cool to see all these guys that still love this stuff and they still appreciate it, and it's really nice inspiration for a bunch of aging guys like us to know that it's cool to be still into that stuff when you're in your 50s or 60s, you know? Yeah, we pulled into Hamamatsu for the night, right by the beach. It was beautiful. Had a few beers. We managed to find a place that had kebabs. Like, we were all for trying funky food in Japan. Like, we trying octopus legs and got squid, whatever. But sometimes it's nice to just have a bit of safe food, and yeah, kebabs aren't really that safe, but we took a risk on the kebabs. We ended up having a few beers that night in Hamamatsu and chatting with one of the guys working behind the bar, and then he was telling us about all the stories of him racing up the Toge, and it's really interesting that, like, there's not many countries where you kind of just start breaking into a conversation with someone and they start telling you about the 86 they used to have and how all his friends used to race up the mountains. Like, that culture was so big in the 80s and the early 90s. Like, it seems like everybody used to race up the mountains or drift or whatever. Like, anyone you talk to, like, just ends, eventually it comes around to something to do with cars. We're always attracted to these kind of people, and it was fascinating having conversations with people in pubs and stuff, just talking about their old car life.
In a long time. Hey, and he's still smiling.
Before we left Hamamatsu, we stopped in an up garage where I picked up a nice battery box for my 86 that Flip found, but unfortunately it was too small for his battery and his FC, so he kindly donated it to me, so I was pretty happy. I was getting some nice shit on this trip. I was delighted. I already had a nice bonnet for my 86. I found a steering wheel, got a battery box. I was living the good life. We went to a shop called OK Racing, which is a really famous 86 shop. They've been featured in all the magazines over the years, and it was just on the side of the road. It's a really old, cool 2-story shop, corrugated front on it. It looks like something out of the 70s, but they weren't too keen on us rocking in. I think the place was getting cleaned up. There was shit everywhere, and he was a bit weird about me pulling out the camera, so we didn't hang around for too long. Yeah, I guess, like I said, you win some, you lose some with this kind of stuff in Japan. You never know what way these shops are going to react to a bunch of foreigners rocking up. I'm sure they really weren't expecting something like that on an early morning when they were starting work, and they probably didn't really want to talk to us. So we had a little look around, and then we got out of it. We didn't want to upset him, so.
We wanted to look at the sea while we drive on the coast road. Kind of forgot we're in a highly active tsunami area, so it's just this the whole way. What is it?
Eat it.
No, I'm afraid of it.
It's Japanese candy.
I don't like it at all. We've got just smelly feet.
I'm gonna eat a banana.
Eating a banana. There's Fuji Speedway bottles.
Coffee.
It's just
Wanda.
your diet will suffer on a journey.
Wanda.
The main shop I really wanted to see that day was, another 86 shop. And I know there's a lot of 86 stuff that has happened on this trip, and it's not been about just the 86s, but we couldn't pass up a shop that's called Noby Booth. I'm not sure what it means, but it's really interesting. This shop has been going since the 80s, And it's another very famous 86 shop, and it's so cool. It's the exact same shop, same location, same design. Everything is the exact same since it opened. I really wasn't expecting this place to be as cool as it was. Even the guys were pretty blown away with this place. The owner was just this kind of crazy guy, and him and his wife kitted the shop out with like a beach theme. Like when we rolled up, he's got his gorgeous two-door Truno parked outside on Longchamps, and the old school logo. It was an amazing place. There's like palm trees and pineapples and putting sunglasses on wheels, and I don't even know what to think. I just know that it was one of the coolest experiences for all three of us. I don't know, I'll never forget that experience. Definitely the most unique shop I've ever been in my life. Like hands down, automotive shop. Like, I don't even know why it had that theme, but I loved every second of it. Noby Booth, another shop on the hit list, and I'm very grateful that the lads let us pull in and enjoy it, because we all left kind of just smiling, just what a, like, I don't know, what a funky place. Legendary shop, highly recommend checking it out if you're in Japan. Yeah, Noby Booth, crazy.
We've seen so many tuning shops that we're actually just bypassing shops because Our heads are melted. Ruben has not worn a seatbelt for this whole journey.
So?
A shop that's been, it's in the media so many years. Like everybody knows about Liberty Walk and their over fenders. Just like Kimiura in Kyoto, he actually designed a lot of the stuff for Liberty Walk originally. They just like hack up supercars and do whatever they want. And that's what Japan is all about. Like friends that grew up into the like Kaido culture, putting big over fenders on stuff, just creating like loud cars that just attract attention, and there's no rules. People could just do whatever they want in that scene. Obviously, the guy that owns it, he has the money now to adopt the same kind of style to supercars. So like these cars that people are afraid to touch, I think it's sacrilegious to chop them up and stuff. I love the fact that he's just chopping them up. He just doesn't give a shit, like, and it's great. Those cars are designed to just attract attention anyway. So someone just took it and put a Japanese spin on it, and they're just like chopping the arches out of them and just riveting on fenders and stuff. I know a lot of people disagree with that stuff, and if you're, you can't mess with the Ferraris. Even Ferrari don't like people messing with their cars, but it's Japan, and they've always done that with everything they own. They get like cars that people would regard today like C10 Skylines and Ken Marys. The whole culture in Japan has been just modifying and chopping things up and putting aftermarket parts on stuff for as long as the culture has existed, and now they're just doing it with supercars.
The owner, I think, came over and he said, I have a factory, we're going to take you, and now we're sitting in 7-seater.
For total strangers.
Yeah. We don't actually know what's going on here. They didn't ask us they just said 1 minute and they came back with a car.
And now because we're in Japan, we just jumped into a stranger's vehicle. advertising, son.
You know, the Liberty Walk stuff, it's probably the most famous stuff to come out of Japan, aside from RWB or Rocket Bunny, because everybody knows about it. And a lot of people are totally over it because there's a lot of Instagram and YouTube influencers and all that stuff that have watered down the brands into like basically oblivion, it seems. Seeing it in real life and seeing why they do it in Japan and why it exists, you know, like we said, the country is very conformist and everything has to fit in its box and everything is, you can't do this and you can't do that. So by having these Ferraris and all these Lamborghinis and these lavish, like leery cars, they're not in any rule book, they're not being confined by any rules, and I'm happy they're doing it. It just creates another part of the car scene, you know, and it makes it interesting. They brought us to their clubhouse, they had all the old bikes, all the Bozo bikes and stuff, and obviously their style that's on all these Ferraris and Lamborghinis is lifted directly from the old school Kaido culture, and yeah, it was incredible. Like what an experience. Like I cannot believe they opened their doors to us and let us just drool all over their workshop and their cars.
Just when we had the heads blown off us, wow! Just when we had the head blown clean off us, there's another shop that was just around the corner, which used to be a Daihatsu dealership, or maybe it still is. I can't process any more cars. Look at all this stuff. Their heads are fucking melted.
I haven't even looked over there.
Yeah, I know, I'm afraid. Like,
I'm afraid. I saw the back of the R32 and I said, oh.
what a spectacle this is. Look at all these 71 chassis, just
The best,
like the coolest.
71 style, and that's it there.
Yeah.
My brain.
My brain hurts. We haven't even gone up to the next level yet. All white, it just looks like Gran Turismo. Just the best of everything as well. Nismo LM GT4s, stunning GTR, completely standard Silvia K. Yeah, 180, 34 GTR, Bayside Blue. There's, I don't even want to go over there yet. Look at this, like. It's just like a random Daihatsu dealer. And you can't see, but behind the camera I'm sweating buckets because I get really nervous around this stuff because it's too much to take in. The price on these, 6.5 million yen, 5.5, 29 million yen.
That's fucking 300 grand.
300 grand for this genuine 4-door GTR. I don't know if this is GTR, but it's still 12 million yen.
That's nearly 2 million yen.
2 million yen, what's that about?
2 million yen!
It's probably about 15 or 16,000 euros.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just go on.
That's about 20 grand.
20 grand. Look how nice all this stuff is. Yeah. Look.
Absolutely amazing.
It's hard to take all this in. Then there's an M&M S2000 just hiding in the back. Yeah, for no reason.
Once again, our brains imploded. I couldn't even hold the camera still because like we just couldn't even process what we were looking at. Like just R34 with a little spotlight on it, with GX71s and a couple of C10s that were worth well over like 30, 40, 50 grand. You just name your price. In this little Daihatsu dealership, it made no sense whatsoever.
Every single car here is just a photo shoot. Like,
It's
imagine getting any one of these cars.
imagine any of us owned any of these cars. It would be, any of these cars would be world famous if they weren't in Japan.
Yeah.
But because they're in Japan, they're just part of the furniture.
Higher paint job as well, like, but it doesn't matter.
It looks like it used to be a Daihatsu dealer and a Suzuki dealer, but the owner just got like fed up and just bought a load of cool shit.
Yeah. How the fuck do you get into this?
Yeah, how do you just buy?
There's a few million sitting here.
This day was supposed to not be about cars, but we had a good time and the heads are blown clean off us. It's just perfect poster 34. Probably going to end up in America someday and probably be worth about fucking 250 grand.
The R34 was just up on a pedestal and I like R34s. I love R32s. But after that second trip to Japan, I have this weird, I would like an R34 GTR. And just seeing that car up on a pedestal, just nicely lit, was just in a Daihatsu dealership. Was just lovely.
It's just full of car stuff. Marine squash.
Oh, Jesus. Skyline Suzuki.
Wow, there's a really old one.